Okay, so this is chapter 7, and we're going to create the thing on the right, the magazine cover from Digital Magazine, I guess. And we're going to do a lot of type styling today. So this is what it looks like. In fact, I will click over here and even turn the guidelines off. Hide extras, that's it. And that's what it's supposed to look like. So let's get going. So I'm going to close this one up, and we'll focus on our friend here that we've used before in chapter 6. And we're going to start off with some guidelines. Now, in order to create guidelines, you have to have rulers available. So hit Command R on the Mac, Control R on the PC, and we're going to click and drag a ruler, or actually it's a guideline, and drop it here at 4.5 inches, which is right dead center on the page. I'm going to change my color here just so you can see this a little bit more clearly. So Preferences, Guides, and change the guide color to a light blue. I think it just pops better on this screen. And by the way, I'll turn on my mask here so you can see where my cursor is. And let's see, the first thing we're going to do here is do a title, and that is going to be at the top of the page. So let's go get the type tool. I'm going to move my notes over so I can see them, hopefully. And before I even click on the screen, I'm going to set up the type up here. So it's Myriad Pro, and I'm going to set up the size as 144. Notice that my menu only goes up to 72, so this is one of those cases where I'm going to have to type this in, 144, enter. And let's see, it's regular, and we want center alignment up here, good. And we're also going to set the tracking. Now the tracking is not visible at this time, so I'm going to open up the character panel and set the tracking here to 100 and hit enter on my keypad. And then I'll type right in the center here. I'll actually just do a point type, just click and type in capital letters DIGITAL and hit enter. Of course, this is too high right now, so I'll get my move tool and bring this down onto our page. And that works out nicely. The next thing we're going to do is to put in kind of a texture in here. Now the way to do this is we are going to click on the, make sure the type layer is selected, but I want to be able to see this file. Now this is a separate file. It's obviously it's a circuit board, but we want to be able to drag this in. So as you've seen in earlier movies, I'm going to split this page into two windows here, so two up vertical, and I'll get the move tool and drag this over. Now we should also hold down the shift key if you want it centered, and that does a nice job there. I don't need this window any longer. And obviously this layer is too big. In fact, I'll relabel this as circuit board, CIRCUIT BOARD. Okay, now let's scale this down. Let's free transform this. And you can see that when we put the free transform controls on here, you can see how big it is really. Now we can do this a couple of ways. I'm just going to grab the corner here and scale this down to fit in the document, and grab this corner to scale down. I'm also holding down the shift key to keep it proportional. And I want to just keep it big enough to cover the size of this page. Now, in fact, as long as I've still got this waiting for me to confirm here, I'm going to just move this up here so it covers the title, and that's fine, right about there. And I'll hit enter to tell Photoshop I'm done with that. And now what I'm going to do is to create a thing called a clipping mask. Now there's a couple ways of doing this. Now my favorite way is to go over here and hold down the Option key or the Alt key on Windows, and when I do that my cursor changes. You can see it, and it only changes when I've got my cursor right on the line between digital and circuit board. Okay, and now as long as I'm holding down the Option key, if I just click here, boom, it now becomes what's called a clipping mask. And what's happening here is that the lower layer, which is the type layer, is actually clipping the picture of the circuit board, which means that the type is framing what's visible on the other layer. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're creating a clipping mask. The lower layer down here will make visible what's on the upper screen, or on the upper layer. Okay. Now what's really neat about clipping masks is that you still have the ability to move things around. Watch this. I'll use the move tool and just click in here and it moves around my layer. Now I can move this. I'm limited because obviously there's the top of the original picture, but I can move this comfortably in here and maybe find a good spot. Maybe I like to see more lines, or I want to see more of those solder holes there. And I think I like that right there. Now the next thing we're going to do is to create a layer mask. I'm sorry, not a layer mask, but a layer style. Now those things live down here. And quite honestly, I forget if we're supposed to do this on the circuit board or the digital. I think it's digital, so let's click on that layer first. There we go. And we're going to create an inner shadow. So you've done shadows before, but now we're going to apply it to the layer itself. And you can kind of see the default shadow that's going on in there, which isn't quite big enough. So we've got a few settings here we're going to change. So we're going to leave it in multiply mode. We're going to change the opacity down to about 50%. Actually, it's 48%. So right, come on, right in there. There we go. 48%. And the distance is going to be 18. So I'll just type this one in here, 1/8. And the size is going to be quite soft at 16. And look what happens now. You can totally see that inside this shape, in fact, I'll click OK, and you can see that that inner shadow layer effect actually is now attached to this layer. So let me turn this on and off and watch what happens up here. So I'll turn the effect off, inner shadow. So there's the raw clipping mask of just the circuit board and the type. And then when I turn the inner shadow back on, it looks really nice and it pops pretty cool too, which is great. Okay, moving on. Now I'm going to click on the background here. And now here's a new thing we really haven't played with, but what we're about to create is a thing called type on a path. I mean, so far when you created type, it's always been just on a straight horizontal line, which is great, but now we can get a little bit more creative. And there's a little tool here that we can use. It's a path. And what it is, I'll click on where it says speech path. It's kind of like a little swirly here. It's a little curved line that was created by using the pen tool. Now you'll get to the pen tool in chapter 8, so that's not all that important at this point. But what's important is that we can apply type to go on this layer. And this is a little bit tricky actually. This takes a bit of practice. I have more of my students kind of get lost in this situation, so please watch carefully and review if you need to. So I've chosen my background layer to be my starting point only because when we create a new type layer, which is the horizontal type, this layer will show up on top of the background layer, as all new layers would. Okay, so before we even type anything, I'm going to set up my type. I still want Myriad Pro, I still want regular, and the size is going to be 16. Now 16 is also not available here. It's between 18 and 14. So I'll just highlight this and type in 16 and hit enter. Okay, and the tracking we're going to set to -10. Let's see, is -10 available? Yes, it is. Awesome. And we're going to set the color to white. So I'll just grab that there. And we'll set this for all caps. Great. And now look what happens. Now, like most other situations, watch my cursor. My cursor now has the insert beam, but it has the box around it, which means that we will create a new type layer. But when I put my cursor over the line there, look what happens. It turns into a kind of, well, it looks like it's typing on a path. That's what we're going to do. So when I do this, I tend to put my cursor over here, and I will click. And this is going to get a little bit weird here. Hopefully this will work. Okay, and we're going to type in the following. What's, and look what happens. We get cut off here. So what I'm going to do is, there's a little, do you see that circle there? Let me see if I can zoom into this. There's a little circle there. And I believe what I want to do is to grab that circle, and it's a little bit hard because the cursor will change to what I need. Okay, maybe I need to zoom in a little bit more. Holding down Option. basically what's happening is my type is being fenced off here, and I'm not sure why. Let me undo this. See, this is even guys like me, it takes a little bit of practice. Let me try this tool. This is the path selection tool. Ah, this will work. Now watch what happens. It opens up the fence here and allows me to see what I'm doing. Now the reason, notice that it didn't stick to the left side. Well, that's because the last time we used type for the beginning, we did center alignment. So I'm going to change this to left alignment, and look what happens. It just moves on over. So I'm going to go back to the type tool and finish what I'm doing. So I'll click on this S, and it's waiting for me to finish. So I'll type in what's new with, I'm going to keep on typing, games, and hit enter. Okay, again I have to go back and change to this arrow tool, and notice how my insert or my cursor changes, and I'll open this up some more, and hopefully a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to highlight, back with the type tool, the word games. And we'll go back to the character panel and set this style for bold. And hit enter, and it looks pretty good. Nice. Okay, now what we're going to do is take this layer, this type layer, and we're going to duplicate it. Okay, so I'm going to well, we can obviously right click on this and hit duplicate layer, so I can do that. Remember, right click on a Mac is called control click unless you have a good mouse that is a right clicker. So we'll duplicate that layer. What do we want to call this? We will call this what's new with MP3s. Capital MP3, lowercase s. And that's just the label. We actually now have to take this layer and we're going to move this up here, and I'm going to rotate this a bit, so about 30 degrees, roughly thereabouts. That's good. Now notice how the type doesn't change. Even though the box moved, the type isn't changing. That's only because I haven't hit the check mark or haven't hit enter yet. When I hit that, it does a nice job. So I'll move this up a little bit more. Nice. And I need to go back with my type tool, and I will highlight games and then type in capital M, capital P, number 3, lowercase s. Oh, and a question mark too. I should go back and put the question mark on games as well. And question mark. Oops. And look what happened. It was too much for the fencing there. So I'll close that up with my enter key, and of course I'll have to open this up just a little bit more. Nice. That's all it is. Okay. And I will duplicate this games thing again. And this time I'll just hold down, I'll just use the move tool and hold down the option key and grab this down here. And this one we're going to change to what is new with phones. So highlighting that, not to get the question mark, phones. Enter. And we're also going to rotate this guy. So Command T, and I will rotate this in the opposite, oops, sorry, didn't want to do it that way. I'm going to rotate this in the opposite direction, minus 30 degrees. Good. Hit enter, and I'm going to use my move tool and kind of place this down a little bit more, maybe a little bit closer to this guy's mouth. Oops, don't want to move that. MP3s, that's the one. And I'll move this closer just a bit. Okay, nice. All right, moving ahead. Oh, we need to warp this text. And for that, let's go back to the type tool. And that's what this guy is up here. This is the warped text. So we're going to set this to wave and set a few things here. So let's see the settings. Bend is 33. And horizontal distribution is minus 23, and vertical distribution is 5. So we're kind of warping this out a little bit, and we're going to do the same effect. Notice how over here in the layers panel that the type tool, the type layer, now has a warping next to it. which is cool. Okay, so we'll do that for all 3 layers. I'll quickly do this. Warping. This isn't one of those effects you can actually duplicate rapidly, so we have to do this manually. So 33 minus 23, 5. And the next one, what's new in phones? So that's 1. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I did phones. I need to do games. Again, warp, wave, 33 minus 23, and 5. Enter, done. All right, looking great. Moving on. Okay, we're going to set up some more guidelines. So we're going to grab a vertical guide, which is one of these, and place it, is it 1/2 inch? 1/4 inch from the right, which is right here. Now, it says 8.249 inches. Of course, we want 8.25, but this will work. Okay, and we want to do 2 inches from the top. So keep your eye on this when we bring this one down, and put this at 2 inches. Okay, by the way, we can zoom in, and I could go with my move tool and put this specifically on 2 inches. And same thing if I hold this, we're going to scroll around a bit. Ooh, maybe not, we'll zoom in. And get a good look at what's going on here. So I can pick this up and move this to 250. Nice. We've set up our guidelines. Now we're going to set up the teaser copy, which is going to lay down right up here on top of his head and the back of his shirt here. And well, the first thing we want to do is just kind of take a look at what's happening here. The book says that you should probably have your type set to 144 points. That's way too big. Okay, so don't do that. Just leave it kind of small right now. What we're going to do is go down here and copy our copy, which is down here in this little sticky, so it opens up a window. And these are the teasers, so this is called the trend issue, and it's got some things here like what's hot and what's not, and what's coming next year. And it's already highlighted clearly, so all we've got to do is just copy this. So Command-C or Control-C on the Windows, and then we don't need this any longer. We've copied it, that's it, okay? And we're going to go to the Type tool and draw a great big box. I'm going to hold down the Shift key to make certain that I'm drawing a brand new box of my own. And I'm really going to, actually now I can let go of the Shift key, and I will set it up this large. Okay, now I'm just going to automatically set this for being right alignment up here and paste it into place. And we're going to style this text by hand. I will tell you that the book walks you through a process using, is it this one? No, it's called Paragraph Styles. And it creates these things called, basically they're macros to help you style stuff faster. But I think it's broken in this version of Photoshop because it was not working for me. If you'd like to try it, I hope you do. Maybe it might work on your machine, but currently it's not working on this version. So we're going to do this by hand. So I'm going to close this up. And I'm going to highlight the trend issue. Let's start there. And let's get the character panel open. And for the trend issue, this is going to be, we're going to use Myriad Pro regular and set this for 70 points. And we're going to set the, leading for 50 point. So that, that changes, well, you can see what it does here if I open this up. It changes the spacing between the lines. So 55 point. That's nice. And the last thing we're going to do here is highlight trend and change this particular style to Myriad Pro Bold. Okay, I'll hit enter. That looks great. Now we're going to do the same procedures on this stuff over here. So for the cover teasers, for actually this what's hot and what's not and coming this year, these are all going to be more bold. So we're going to set it up that way. So it's Myriad Pro Bold. I'm just going to highlight this So Myriad Pro Bold, that's actually great. And the size is going to be 28 points. Now 28 doesn't live on the menu, so we will do this by hand. Highlight 16 and change it to 28. Okay, and in fact we'll do that for this one as well. 28. Enter. And let's see, it's right aligned, so we're good there. And they are white, so we're cool there. Let's also change this. Now this is also going to be 28. Gotta remember to type that in. 28. And now this one, actually this whole paragraph here is going to be black. So we can just change this all now. And when I hit enter, okay, that's looking good. We still have a few things to set up here. So let's go back to online movies, highlight that. And this one's going to be 22 points. And the style is going to be regular. It's not going to be bold. Okay. And let's see, 22 white, right? We're good there. That looks good. We'll do the same thing with the Bluetooth headsets. 22 in point size. Enter. And it's going to be changed to regular. Nice. This also 22 and regular. Hit enter. And you know, I've got a setting here that everything should be set to 28 points on the leading. So if you wanted to highlight all of that stuff and set it to 28, that would be okay. We'll type in 28. Oops. Command Option Z. Hang on. Undo. There we go. Sorry about that. Here's highlight this stuff again and set this for, well, I'll start here and then set it for 28. There, that's nice. Enter, and we're almost done. This is great. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is a little bit of vertical type. Now for this, we're going to go to the type tool. Notice there are several things there: horizontal type tool and vertical type tool. We want vertical type. And I'm going to hold down the shift key, so that of course means that I'm going to draw a new box. At least that's my plan. Actually, I'm going to click on, there we go. Something seems wrong. I'm going to go with it. So click and drag, there's my box. I'll draw a vertical box like that. And we're also going to go with Myriad Pro, but I'm going to change the style to light condensed, which I believe is this one here. Good. And the point size is going to be 15. 15 also not available there, so I will type this in. There's 15. Nice. And the color shall be black. And in capital letters here, I'm going to type in VOL 9. And you can see over there, it's there. Let me get my move tool and I'll move this layer visible. That's what we're looking for right there. And it should live, you know, it shouldn't live past the guideline over there, but it lives comfortably right about there. And that's pretty much it. Now we're going to delete this sticky here. So we can right click on this, or on the Mac, control click on it and delete the note. Do you want to delete this note? Yes, I do. Okay, and we're going to hide the guidelines, so Command H, and there we go. Now the last notice in the book says to flatten this entire document, which of course is not what I want you guys to do. I want to see all of your layers and how you think, and that you're getting this stuff. So this is where we're going to end this with all of our layers intact. And if you want to see the end version, they used a slightly different font. Oh, forgot one thing. Notice how, now this doesn't say this in the book that I saw. You'll notice that the type layers here are quite visible. But if you look over at our version, they're sitting behind the shadow layer. Very simple. All we're going to do is shift click these guys and move them up past this shadow stuff. In fact, we'll just take it to the top of the stack. And now it's visible. And we're done. One last thing I forgot, and that is if we look at the original, the title is behind the guy's head. We'll do that as well. And that is, all we've got to do is highlight these two layers here, the circuit board and the digital image. So I'll shift click that and just drag it south of our model. Boom, it's now behind there. It's all good. And that's it.